the moment our fellow geeks, dweebs, nerds, and other unfortunates have been fervently waiting for has finally arrived. It's time for TMI, Confessionals of the Nerd Kind. And now, your hosts, Jeff Nerf Herder Chandler, Jim Kaiju Baker, and Christina Yojimbo Henry. You can continue. And now, let's get on with the show. Here is TMI.
How many?
And then seeing this and be like, ooh, jump ship just in time.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably unravel this more than we could unravel the Mando episode, of which, frankly, I don't think there's very much to talk about.
There really isn't that much to talk about.
But
we'll put it out nonetheless.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about. There's not much to talk about.
Let's talk about. Actually, you guys, are we in? Can we just say that we're in right now? We'll just take this.
We're
just
in.
All right, so here we
Yeah.
go. This is a very succinct review, and I'm going to give it to you right now.
Mhm.
Giant spiders got long legs. Baby Yoda eats some eggs. Razor crest down. Boom, we're out.
wow. So, like, you're almost a haiku.
Is this? I know. Is this Monday night at the poetry jam,
Yes,
or what
it
is
was
this?
a slam.
I have an even shorter review.
Okay.
Nothing happened.
So it's a Seinfeld episode.
This is turning into Monster of the Week.
Yes.
This is what the show has become.
Yeah.
And I hate to express this frustration, because despite the fact that nothing happens, you're still sort of spend the 40 minutes charmed by Baby Yoda. And
More so this week than last week.
Yeah, and you enjoy the process, but
yes.
there's 8 episodes.
I
That means
know.
that they've already gone through 1/4 of their total episodes for the season, and nothing has happened. They can't keep presenting questions and never giving answers.
Right.
Well,
this was the X-Files syndrome, right? This was definitely the X-Files
well, we brought
syndrome.
this up before.
But they're hitting this fast and heavy. You didn't have to wait at least 5 seasons and still not have answers. You're 2 seasons in, but you got to wait a year between seasons.
Correct.
And,
And
still not
at
giving
least
you
the
answers.
X-File had 20 plus episodes a season.
True.
You're getting 8. So they're very, you got to parse them out as it is. But I have some like serious questions about this guy's credentials at this point. Because
But
he just
still,
keeps
saying
getting
that-
scammed into all of these situations.
Saying that, this is, still a well done show. I enjoyed the episode.
Absolutely. It's beautiful to look at. It's fun to watch.
But yes, the things that kept you invested in season 1 and carried you over to season 2 have not been addressed at all.
It's candy. It's a lot of calories with nothing really substantial to.
Well, this is the thing. I'm not saying they have to answer every question right away. And I'm not saying they need to resolve all the unresolved issues from last season. But they need to start inching people toward answers. They need to start giving more information than they're withholding.
Yeah.
This is like basic storytelling. If you read a novel, okay, there's like the author presents questions at the beginning. Some of those questions will be resolved before the end of the book, right? Before some big reveal. They're called turning points, and they're supposed to happen sort of like, it's not a hard and fast formula, but sort of at set points during the book, right? About every 1/8 to 1/6 through the story, something should happen to maintain the reader's interest to keep them going forward.
But this is sitcom mentality. It's 20 minutes, it's a half an hour. You get into, it's Jack Tripper getting into a situation, a misunderstanding, and then it's resolved by the end.
But that's
it doesn't
fine
really
if they didn't establish this
an
lore.
overriding story.
Right. And they got into it by the end of season 1. So
and that's exactly, I think that's exactly
what's
what's going to happen is the back end of these 8 episodes for the season or whatever is going to gear up. But once again, we're in this episodic standalone monster of the week because we did talk about it last year, and we were hoping that it would become a little more connective. There's no connective tissue right now. It's just one silly adventure after the other.
Right.
Unless you want to tell me that, you know, the kidnappers at the beginning that were trying to get Baby Yoda were still working with Gideon, or
That's what I was thinking when they appeared. One of them says, "Get the child," but then it didn't
Right.
seem they were random thieves. Apparently,
but apparently, I mean, but they knew of the child. I mean, we literally pick up right where we left off last episode.
Which
He's still
was
still on Tatooine.
Yeah, so disappointing because again, no resolution on this potential Boba Fett question.
Oh,
like
you're
we're
not
still
gonna-
on
yeah,
the planet.
right.
They
Yep.
could have. That would have been honestly, even if they didn't want to resolve any of the larger questions like who is Baby Yoda, why did the Imperials want him, you know, is Gideon actually still actively chasing Mando, or is he sending surrogates, which we're assuming based on these raider type people?
Yeah,
If they don't want to answer any of those questions, they could at least throw us a bone with Boba Fett. This would have
Right.
been a
They
really
didn't even show him in the previously on.
no, because they cut it.
They
cut it
they
right
cut
before
you even saw him. They're like,
It's
oh,
like,
let's not
just
even bring
forget
him up
about
again.
that. You're not going to hear anything about him in this episode, so don't even think about him.
Hey, no attention to the man behind the gappy stick.
So this means that they're going to have to go back. They're going to have to go backwards,
And
back to
reestablish.
Tatooine
Right.
to figure out who this guy is, because he looked pretty planet bound. He didn't seem very high tech, the guy in
Yeah.
the robes.
it's just so frustrating because again, it sort of feels this episode felt very derivative of last season when his ship got destroyed and he had to go get the egg from the Mudhorn so that the Jawas would help him fix it. This
Right.
time no one helps him fix it, and instead he takes off in the ship like not really flying condition, right?
Yeah, right. You remember last week when I said the Razor Crest had seen better days? Well,
You know what?
I take it back.
What made me laugh out loud is after he crash lands to get away from the X-Wings,
Right.
which is a pretty harrowing sequence, right? He just
That was
drops
nice.
free
It's-
fall,
Right.
crash lands, and then on top of that, the ice collapses and the Razor Crest takes another giant hit, and he walks
Right.
out with a toolbox to
Right.
fix the Razor Crest.
And then he's like, screw it. I'm just going to sleep it. It's going to get cold soon. How does he know when he crashed on that planet? It could have been morning. He doesn't know what time it was. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it was enjoyable to watch, but in the end, I was like, so thank you for no information.
Yeah.
And unless they start kicking it into high gear in these last 6 episodes, I'm just gonna end up like being angry and frustrated.
No, don't be angry and frustrated.
You know, I
Sometimes you
need
just
to
gotta-
see some degree of resolution on the questions they themselves have set. If they hadn't set these questions,
Correct.
I
do
wouldn't
agree
be
with you
interested
on
in
that.
the answers. You know,
Yes.
if they were like, well, we just want to do an episodic thing week to week, fine.
Then
you-
don't create some kind of overriding narrative.
Exactly.
You know, just have the adventure.
Should we
how
go
is
through
it-
the motions? Should we talk? Should we?
I think we should.
we
at
go
this-
through
we
it?
should at least.
It'll
break
take
down the
2 minutes to
episode.
sum up the plot.
All right. So this is called.
I gave it to you at the beginning.
It's called The Passenger,
Yes.
and we have no Iggy Pop or Susie Sue cameo.
Mhm.
Nope.
You're welcome to all the goth kids out there, by the way.
That's the first thing that we thought of, my whole family, as soon as the passenger
Oh
came.
Yeah.
Nice.
And as we mentioned, it kicks off immediately after the first episode of the second season,
Yep.
where he is on his speeder bike racing across the barren sands of Tatooine, and he is ambushed by 3 raiders who set up a rope trap, and they snag him, and it looks like a pretty devastating blow to his
It must have been like a
the
major
speeder.
highway that they just happened to figure out he was going to go between those 2 buttes or something. Like it's
and he kicked it up a notch before he hit that rope, so he's lucky he wasn't beheaded.
He probably knew that there was somebody in there. He's seen
But it was-
one too many
but-
Wile E. Coyote commercials.
But again, I did appreciate this episode being standalone because my son again watched it with me, and he knows nothing of season 1. So he was all in it for the Baby Yoda, for the cool giant
Sure, and
spider.
you
So
got-
he
you
loved
got-
this. He loved it. This was made for him.
yeah, this little kid's like he's beyond precocious at this point. He's becoming diabolical.
And I have to say that he laughed very long and heartily at the joke where Mando had to negotiate with the smallest of the raiders for the child's life. It was a very upsetting scene because they had a knife to Baby
right to
Yoda's
Baby Yoda,
neck. And he has to trade. He wants the backpack. That's what the raider wants, is Mando's backpack. He says, fine, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
And as soon as he starts to run away, he just hits that little remote and boom, he's a mile in the air. And my son laughed so hard at that.
It was like Roadrunner Wile E. Coyote stuff.
Yeah.
And he goes plummeting back to the ground. And who knew that SpaceX made backpacks? Because that thing landed 3-point. That was nice.
And then Baby Yoda throws him some shade when it lands. Like, really?
Yeah.
He's like, really? And he's like, come on.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you expect me to do?
He's getting some attitude there. Yeah.
I mean, he is, again, like, you're very enchanted by his cuteness because he runs to Mando and they make these cute little, like, toddler sounds.
I was going to bring this up because he's becoming more vocal.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
And when you watch it with the subtitles, it always says child coos. So I know that that's a coup.
Not a haiku, a child coup. Nice. We didn't bring up the fact that this is directed by Peyton Reed, who has a little nod because when Mando does make it back into town and he goes to the cantina, I can't remember Amy Sedaris is her character's name, but she's playing cards with a giant ant.
Who she calls jokingly
Mr. Mandible. Dr. Mandible.
And again, I'm sorry for bringing up the subtitles, but from that point on, that is referred to as Dr. Mandible in the subtitles.
Maybe that really was his name. Listen, sometimes they're just names are spot on. He has mandibles, but obviously Peyton Reed directed Ant-Man, so I thought that was a cute little. I would just have to assume it was intentional.
Yeah.
But how is it that this guy is searching for Mandalorians, and everybody knows where they are but him? Like everybody he runs into. Oh yeah, no, he knows where a Mandalorian is. Yeah, he'll take you there. It's like every week he's like, I need a Mandalorian. Oh, I know.
Well, he
somebody.
knew. Well, to be fair, he did know where they were, but they scattered to the four winds, right?
I know, but
yeah,
this guy's like, oh, Dr. Mandible. Yeah, he knows. But again, he gets scammed into taking this gecko lady with her eggs.
And then Amy Sedaris is like, I'll vouch for her on my life. It's like, I met her 10 minutes ago, but I'm a great judge of character.
How long have you known her? 10 minutes.
So they've got to go to it's Trask, right? Is that a planet or is that a system that they're?
I have no clue.
Because the frog lady, Wind in the Willows.
Yeah, I don't remember what
she has to go to Trask to meet her husband to fertilize her eggs that she has in a high-tech backpack.
Yes.
And she cannot travel via hyperspace because it will destroy the eggs. So they've got to go conventional.
So plot device number one.
And it's only one sector over, so it's not a big deal. You know, that they're trying to sell Mando on this no hyperspace deal. But of course, he gets stopped by the...
He gets pulled over.
He gets pulled
by the
over.
rebellion police.
Doesn't get stopped, but he gets...
No.
He gets an escort.
Yes. And I will say, it was damn cool to hear those engines again.
Yeah.
Those iconic sounds.
Now, you think that at this point, like the tech would be enough in this galaxy that he would have some sort of translator device because there is a lack of communication between him and the frog mother.
Right.
And an adorable Baby Yoda, we know he can't help himself. We know he's a baby. We know he likes to eat frogs from season 1.
That is true. Yeah.
So rather than have some kind of convening, as you think he may be doing when he approaches this backpack, and he kind of puts his hand on the glass,
and they're kind of drawn to him, right? Right. Yeah.
It's maybe you're thinking it's a between children moment.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
He's just hungry.
And he eats them.
You have to watch toddlers 24 hours a day.
You know,
they will eat anything.
Even dads don't
and
necessarily latch onto that
I'm seeing shade
concept.
online. Like Baby Yoda's eating this woman's children. He's a baby. He's not
How do
doing
we
a
know he's
malicious
baby?
act.
Yoda was like 900 years old. This guy could be like 150 for all we know.
He's 90 something,
Is
right?
he 90
That was
something?
what they said in the first season.
But he coos. He
Yeah.
coos.
He's a toddler. Toddlers get into everything. He saw him in the first season, like going to touch the board on the ship, right? He was like
Yes,
reaching
yes.
toward it
Yeah.
and
And
like
then he looks away.
like looking
Yep,
at Mando,
yep.
like, do
Oh
you
yeah,
see
he's
what
gonna
I'm
push him.
doing?
He's
You know?
he's at that pushing the
He
button
wants to
stage,
play
yeah.
with the ball on the clutch in the Razor Crest.
Yeah.
I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt that somehow he was ingesting these to save them, but that
No.
wasn't the case at all. No, I was willing to say maybe he's saving these. Maybe you think he's just being a little jerk, and meanwhile at the end he's going to spit them all out. Look, he saved them all. Now he's just eating them.
Equivalent of a human 3-year-old.
Right.
Yeah.
You
But the
know?
article is like, I'm very disturbed that this this character that everybody loves is eating someone else's children.
An
Like, I'm
alien.
sorry,
We eat
but
eggs every day.
that frog in season 1 had a mother. That
Right.
frog in season 1 had a father. You didn't
Were
say
they also
anything
upset
then.
that he ate a spider? Because he did eat a spider.
I
in
thought
this
he was
episode
eating
again.
I thought these were face huggers, and I was
mean,
almost standing
There
up.
was some serious alien / Lord of the Ring vibes going on here.
But is that person who's like so distressed, are they vegan? Like, do they not eat
I
chicken
was going to
eggs?
say. do we
I know.
not
I didn't get
have
past the
eggs?
first 2 sentences, so I did not give her a chance.
That was it. You were done. You were
I
out.
pulled the New York Times, Dawn of the Dead. I was out of there.
You Maslined out of here
They end up crashing.
spectacularly.
The hull is like unrepairable.
No,
I don't
right. He's
know
walking
what-
through
At,
the.
at that point, it's unrepairable.
Yeah.
And then the amounts of damage it takes after the crash is ridiculous.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it is
So he's-
there is a throwback to season 1 because the reason the X-Wings want to detain him is because they see the history of
I was
this
going to bring that up.
craft
Yeah.
with episode 6, right? Of season
The,
it was
the
episode
prison
6.
break. The
The
prison,
prison
break.
break episode.
Yeah. Yes. So he wants to steer clear of them, and obviously, no matter what he did, they still found him. But he crashes, and now they're on this ice planet. They're all gonna die, and she goes out for a walk.
I was,
just-
I was waiting for them to say it was Hoth because you can't be on,
She's
just
got
some
well,
random
yeah,
planet.
I know. I'm assuming that Hoth and Tatooine are not right next door to each other.
You have to say I'm bothered overall by like the lack of temperate climates in the
Right.
Star Wars
It's one
universe.
extreme or
It's
the
full
other.
of
right?
extremes.
Yeah, it's one extreme or the other. Thank you, Mr. Lucas, for not.
Or it's
thinking
just
that
the
through.
forest planet, or the ice planet, or the desert planet. Can't
Right.
have, or the paradise that was in Rogue One.
Oh,
that
that's
was all
true.
beaches
That's
all the
true.
time, right?
All beaches all the time. And me without my suntan.
I don't know, man. I'd like to see like some deciduous forests or something. Maybe the occasional
got Endor.
mountain. Well, Endor is more like a rainforest almost,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, so I don't know. It doesn't.
I don't know either. So she wanders out, finds a hot spring. How that works, I have no idea.
But not before
finds-
she communicates with him
Oh, that's right.
with
she
the
did
assassin
that.
droid.
She did. Yep, that's another callback. But she accesses his vocabulator. Okay. And is
And
able
I-
to communicate with him.
Let's sum up the plot
Yes.
part really quick. So Baby
Um,
Yoda goes and eats a baby spider. He
Yes,
opens
as Jim
these-
mentioned, it's
yeah.
like aliens. The Queen's hive. You got eggs.
Yeah, even
everywhere.
before you got like snow eggs that look just like the facehugger eggs that
Yep.
in a field of them that Baby Yoda's walking through.
And it
Wow.
seems like it unfurls in the same way as
Yes.
an alien egg.
You're
then
only
he-
missing that sound effect.
Yeah.
And he takes out the spider, he stuffs it in his mouth, and 2 seconds later, all the other eggs open up, and then the mama comes out.
Mama. She
And it's hideous and horrible. And then they get chased. The ship gets more destroyed by the spiders.
ice spiders.
And then miraculously, the 2 X-Wing pilots who were chasing him show up, bail him out, but his ship is still wrecked.
Well,
That's
you
the
say
plot.
miraculously, but one of those pilots is Dave Filoni, so he knew
Yes.
he was down there. He knew where he was because he wrote the episode.
No, Favreau wrote the episode.
No, Dave Filoni, right? Had a cameo. So
And
anyways.
they let him off the hook as well because, we saw that you broke
right.
this prisoner out, but you also saved the captain of the
The
vessel.
guard or
So
something, yeah.
there's a yin and a yang going on here. We're going to let you go today.
And he's like, "Why don't you come down here and help me?" He goes, how about we just let you go and you fix your own ship?
Yeah, and make sure you fix that headlight or we're going to pull you over.
Right,
next time.
correct. Yeah. Get that transponder working again there,
Yep.
boy. So he makes his way off the planet, hobbling. How they're able to, able to retain any kind of breathable atmosphere in there, I have no clue. But not before Baby Yoda eats one more egg, which is very funny.
Yeah, is Mrs. Frog counting these eggs? Because she doesn't seem
Yeah,
to
I
be
was
aware.
going to say she would have, right. Because he probably ate 5 or 6 over the course of the episode.
Yeah, we don't know how many he ate before Mando actually caught him.
And
in
I would
the act.
assume that one that he ate at the end was like somewhere in his tunic, like he was keeping it.
Right. But yeah, to Christina's point, that's it. We got nothing more to talk about. The
Nope.
big spider comes. There's a scene of tense drama as the spiders are boarding the Razor Crest.
It's a
Boom.
nice attack sequence, but again, it's candy.
The mama spider actually pierces the hull of the Razor Crest twice, right through
the canopy.
So,
yeah.
I don't know how you fix that.
I don't know. Transparent aluminum, maybe.
Perhaps aluminum
Maybe
foil?
Scotty. Maybe the Enterprise came by. Scotty, it's got a couple extra pieces floating around.
Maybe he's got some plastic wrap in a cabinet downstairs. And some
Boba
duct
Fett
tape.
wrap. He's got some Mandalorian wrap. I will. The only thing I have to add to that, which is the spider design, was based on an unused concept from Ralph McQuarrie's paintings for Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, then.
So,
Really? You know what's funny is having just watched through all the Phantasm movies. In Phantasm 3, the tall man's hand is taken off, much in the same fashion that his finger is taken off in the first Phantasm, and his hand becomes a creature in itself that looks almost exactly like these snow spiders. So it might have been a nod
interesting
to Phantasm. Who knows?
Who knows? We don't. At this point, like I said, they're digging. I don't know where they're coming up with this crap.
Yeah.
So how about you stop looking through old comic books and give us a plot?
Yeah, I beg of you, just answer one question.
One question.
Because
let's see. How many you got outstanding? Let's see. Let's talk about the Darksaber. We know that apparently, supposedly, Ahsoka and or Sabine, or no, I'm sorry, Bo-Katan are showing up.
Yeah, but those are things that you know from like reading press releases. Like
I'm talking about
stuff,
but I'm saying they haven't even been dropped on the show yet.
I'm talking about stuff they've presented in the show that they haven't answered.
Yeah.
Gideon, okay, but the number one question: why do the Imperials want Baby Yoda? This is actually a question you could answer, and there would still be tension unresolved. There would
Do they
still
have
be
marketing rights to toys?
They still have a lot of stuff that they could potentially spin out. They could answer that question and it could actually raise the stakes.
Correct.
It's like
now you understand.
Right.
It's like they're afraid to give you the answer because
they did. Now that you bring that up, like it doesn't seem like anyone really kind of knows what the Force is or what's going on. But he does, the Mando, in order to kind of, placate the two X-Wing pilots. He does say, "May the Force be with you." Like, is that just like common courtesy? It's like, oh, they're rebellion, so they're Force believers.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a fun episode, but yeah, it didn't answer anything.
And if they keep going like this, I'm just going to be tearing out my hair because it's so
You're gonna have
frustrating.
no hair left. You're gonna have no hair left.
It's very frustrating.
Who directs next week's episode? That's a good question.
I did not see that information.
I don't know. I have not been on top, so I don't know. Yeah.
Carl Weathers, I think, is supposed to direct chapter 12.
Oh, cool. So that'll just be like a Rocky 2 remake.
So,
Mando will go up and he'll fight.
Maybe they'll give him the most important plot-wise episode of all. Maybe that'll
You
surprise
think so?
us.
You think if what the first-time director is going to get? Like, yeah, we'll give you the most important episode. It just says chapter 11. That doesn't even tell me what the title of it is. I got nothing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, kids. Did you enjoy the episode? Did you not? It doesn't matter. We watched it.
But yeah, as Christina was saying, they've got 6 more episodes to make this right. So get cracking, please.
Get cracking. You were talking to you. Ay, ay, ay.
There's going to be 5 more standalone episodes and then like a whole bunch of stuff crammed into the last episode with
Yeah, like-
nothing resolved.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
you're just one big cliffhanger waiting for
Oh
the
yeah,
next
yeah. You
season.
know we're coming back for season 3. We got all the time in the world here.
That's right.
All the
We
time.
we
in the
heard your
world.
podcast, Christina, and we're not answering anything.
But again, like last season, the first few episodes were linked, by
Yes, you're right. The first, yep.
he had to get the child, he had to deliver the child to the remnants of the empire.
Yeah.
He made the decision to rescue the child. So then there's a couple of standalone episodes, and then they sort of circled around back to the mythology at the end, but the questions still weren't answered, and like more questions were presented. You've got to start making stuff pay off for people. Like you have to, otherwise you're gonna lose people. Yeah, even if Baby
people
Yoda's
are paying
cute.
for this, man. They're paying for it. I know people who canceled Disney Plus as soon as season 1 was done with, and they signed right back up when season 2 came. So,
but they might not sign up for season 3 if they don't get answers. They might be like, well, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
maybe just
like,
enjoy the ride. I don't know.
Season 1, I can understand some standalones, to establish the characters, and they did
establish
that
the
in
worlds
season
as
1.
well, because
But now they're rolling. Now they're rolling the big plot ball down the hill, and
is that what that
taking
was?
too many of these asides? Maybe it's the dung beetle rolling his.
Is that what I smell? Oh, there you go. All right. Well, that was our episode.
Yeah, we beat this one to death.
We talked longer than the episode.
I know, this is our shortest episode ever, and we beat it to death.
We got nothing more to add. I have absolutely nothing more to add.
I just wanted to impart some great news. This may not be a surprise to many of you, but we are covering a Godzilla movie in the next 2 weeks.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
Oh yeah,
There
and
you go.
we have a new president as well. So
Oh yeah, that did happen, didn't it?
that happened too. So
There you go.
So thanks for everybody that turned out and voted.
Yep.
And thanks for everybody who turned out and listened to this very brief episode.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate it. Until next week.
Bye.
Bye. Hello, everybody. If you liked the podcast you just heard, then please follow TMI on all of our social media outlets. First and foremost, email us at tmipodcast2018@gmail.com. That is tmipodcast2018@gmail.com.
And you can follow us on Twitter at TMI_podcast2018. Stop over, say hi, give us a compliment. We'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Make sure you follow us on Instagram as well, which is also TMI_podcast2018.
And of course, we are on Facebook, facebook.com/TMI Podcast 2018. And it should be noted, we also have a community page, so join the forum.
And if you like to watch YouTube, you can see us at TMI Podcast 2018, all one word. Look for the popcorn bucket.
Popcorn bucket. Or you could just go to our website, which has every link there, TMIConfessionalspodcast.com. And we'll see you at the concession stand.
We'll save some popcorn for you.
But he coos.
Yeah.
He coos.